Hey there, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that feels a little old school in our super digital world, but is actually more important for a kid's brain than ever. Yep, we're talking about writing. So how does a simple pencil and paper actually build a better brain? Let's get into it. I mean, it's a totally fair question, right? You've got tablets, smartphones, keyboards everywhere, so you have to wonder, is handwriting just becoming a lost art? Is it even worth the time and effort anymore? Well, the answer from neuroscientists and child development experts is a huge, definite yes. It turns out the physical act of writing by hand gives the brain this unique workout, building connections in a way that just tapping on a keyboard doesn't. So, where does this all begin? Well, it's not with spelling big words or perfect grammar. Nope. It all starts with something much simpler, that very first spark, the physical act of a little hand picking up a pencil. And get this, there's a real sweet spot for this. We're talking about the ages between 3 and 12. During this time, a child's brain is just exploding with growth, creating new neural pathways like crazy. This is the absolute golden window for writing to have the biggest impact.
You know, every single time a child writes a letter, they're basically conducting a tiny orchestra of fine motor skills. They have to master finger control, get their hand and eye working together, and build up that grip strength. Think of it like weight training for their hands, getting them ready for all sorts of complex tasks later on.
And here's the cool part. It's not just about writing. These are super transferable skills. We're talking about the same abilities a kid needs to draw a picture, to do arts and crafts, and even to nail those big life milestones like buttoning up a shirt, or yes, finally tying their own shoelaces.
Okay, this is where the real magic happens inside the brain. See, writing isn't just one thing. It lights up a bunch of different brain areas all at once. The motor cortex is busy moving the hand, the visual cortex is processing the letters it sees, and the prefrontal cortex is planning out what comes next. It's a total full brain workout.
So what does all that brain activity mean? Well, it means the brain is building and strengthening the superhighways between all these different regions. That increased connection, that neural connectivity, is literally the foundation for cognitive growth. It makes the brain faster, more efficient, and way more powerful.
All right, so we've laid the physical groundwork. Now let's jump to the next level and see how all that action actually helps wire a smarter, more capable mind. This is where we see some serious cognitive gains.
This is such a fascinating comparison. Look, nobody's arguing that typing isn't faster. It is. But writing by hand, because it's slower and more deliberate, it forces your brain to process information on a much deeper level. Forming each unique letter one by one really fires up our memory systems way more than just tapping the same key over and over. And the payoff for that deeper processing is huge. Writing actually strengthens our working memory. You can think of that as the brain's mental sticky note. This directly leads to retaining information better and, most importantly, really understanding concepts, not just memorizing them.
Honestly, if there's one key takeaway about learning, it's this. It's so simple. From spelling words to math problems, when kids physically write something down, their brains just lock it in more effectively. It's like a built-in learning superpower.
Writing is also incredible training for what are called executive functions. The easiest way to think of this is like the CEO of your brain. It's the part that's in charge of focus, planning, and tuning out distractions. Every time a child writes, they're giving that inner CEO a great workout, making it stronger.
But you know what? The benefits go way beyond just academics and memory. Writing is one of the most amazing tools we can give a child to help them explore, understand, and share what's going on in their own head.
It also has this incredible direct link to language skills. The very act of writing forces a kid to slow down and think about their word choice, how to form a sentence, and what the rules of grammar are. And that practice naturally makes them better speakers and better readers, too.
And of course, let's not forget, writing is the ultimate playground for the imagination. When kids create stories, they're picturing new worlds, building characters, and connecting different ideas in new ways. And that's not just fun, it's a crucial exercise in creative problem solving.
This brings us to something that is so important, but often gets overlooked. Kids have all these big, sometimes confusing emotions. So how can writing actually help them figure it all out?
It gives them a safe place to put everything. Whether it's through journaling about their day, making up stories about a character who feels the same way they do, or even just drawing a picture and writing one sentence about it, it all helps them learn to process and manage their emotions. So let's pull all these threads together. When you look at all of these benefits, it becomes really clear. Writing isn't just another school subject, it is truly the ultimate academic tool, one that gives a child a learning advantage that can last a lifetime.
And in the long run, it creates something awesome called the virtuous cycle. It's simple. The better a kid gets at writing, the more they understand things like sentence structure, which makes them a better reader. And of course, the more they read, the more ideas and words they have, which makes them a better writer. It's this amazing upward spiral.
So in the end, we're not just talking about having neat handwriting. We're talking about building the entire foundation for critical thinking, for creativity, for clear communication, for focus, and for emotional intelligence. It's the whole package.
I think this quote just nails it. We really have to change how we think about writing. It's not just another task to check off the list. It's a fundamental, powerful exercise that literally shapes the structure of a child's growing brain.
So just remember that the next time you see a child with a crayon or a pencil carefully trying to form letters, they are doing so much more than learning their ABCs. They are actively building the brain of a thinker, a creator, and a future leader.
And that really just leaves us with one final inspiring question. It could be something as simple as a grocery list, or a silly story, or a thank you note. So, what will you help them write today?